Now, I'm not one to gossip, but I will bring you the tea. Welcome to Chronicle Speaks. Many of you know the trial for James Timothy Norman started yesterday. I will be there more than likely sometime next week to do some coverage, but up until then, we're taking notes from news outlets, other YouTubers that I'll tag down in the description, and a few other local reporters. Many of you have been asking, and I'll go ahead and clear it up now because this is a federal trial. It cannot and will not be televised, so all of the information that you'll be getting regarding the trial will have to be from offline. We are going to get into what happened yesterday and so much more, but before we do, please be sure to subscribe to this channel and hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss out on any of this tea. Now let's get back into it. So Tuesday, the trial began, and while many of us felt that this Tuesday would just be a jury selection day, to my surprise and many others, they were ready to get this trial over and done with and wasted no time in jumping into opening statements. I'll say this, Tim Norman going 2 years without that soul food cooking is definitely taking a toll on him. As it's being told to me, those fat and hip jokes that I was giving Tim a couple of weeks ago have to cease immediately because Tim is said to be about 100 pounds smaller. Smaller neck, smaller face. His face is sunken in and he's aged about 10 years. So that happy-go-lucky look that he was given on that inmate picture, pretty much saying I'll be getting out soon, is all gone. Tim is said to have walked in, shackled up, looking sad, depressed, and broken. But unfortunately for him, he's probably come to the harsh reality that he has completely screwed up his life for the rest of his life for what he's done to his nephew Andre. And obviously what he's done to Andre has caused a huge rift in the family, even having them sitting in separate sections of the courtroom. Miss Robbie is up here as a matriarch. All of these people are underneath her in age and also working with her, so coming against her son is now coming against her, and I'm sure none of them are wanting to do that. Now, as far as the members of Tim's family that were there, his aunt Linda, Miss Robbie's sister, was there, and also her daughter Monique. Miss Robbie was not in attendance. There were some other aunts, cousins, uncles, and things of that nature that were there, but no key people that we know as cast members on Sweetie Pies other than the ones that I have named. As far as Andre's family, of course, his mother, Michelle Griggs, was there, and her oldest son, who was also at the vigil that Tim's family had for Andre, the one that Tim did not show up at. And they also had several of her daughters there. They came in pretty deep. As far as the jury selection, the jury did not take long to be selected. There is an all-Caucasian jury list, child. There's 9 men and there's 6 women. That's 12 jurors and 3 alternates. Probably folks that have never had soul food a day in their lives and didn't even know what a Sweetie Pies was. There was one girl that looks like she could have been in her mid to late 20s. All of the other jurors were in their 30s to late 40s, and there may have been one man who was about 50 something. But again, there were all Caucasian jurors. A couple of black ones that could have been possible jurors. Child, they had every excuse in the book to not be a part of this, and honestly, I don't blame them. Up to take the stand first is Miss Michelle Griggs, who happens to be Andre Montgomery's mother. She answered questions about Andre. She pretty much stated that Andre was going through some stuff, as most kids do growing up. He was living in Texas with her. He was going through some things, like I said, and she had spoke to Miss Robbie about him coming to stay in St. Louis and finishing high school there. He came for Thanksgiving and he ended up staying. He worked in his grandmother's restaurant as a busboy. That's when we came to fall in love with Andre. Saw him and Charles on the show having a good time, making us laugh. He ended up finishing high school and then he went back to Texas. While in Texas living with his mother, Andre would still get into some trouble from time to time, and Mr. Norman was aware of that. So he called Miss Griggs and asked her to allow Montgomery to come back to St. Louis so he can teach him how to be a man. When he asked him to return, he also asked her to provide him with Montgomery's diploma, his birth certificate, and his social security card so he could look after him. She didn't think anything of it. Hey, this is Andre's uncle, his deceased father's brother. He can take care of him. He has a social security card, his diploma, whatever he needs, he can have it. Little did she know that she was providing this very information to the man who was plotting to take her son's life and receive a $450,000 insurance policy off of it. Now, Miss Michelle Griggs has 6 children in all, and she stated that she has a life insurance policy on all 6 of her kids. The one that she had on Andre was for $50,000, and not until Andre's death was she aware that Tim had a life insurance policy out on Andre as well, and had attempted to take 5 life insurance policies out on Andre. The FBI had to give her that information. So Miss Griggs had a life insurance policy out on Andre. Tim had a life insurance policy out on Andre, and according to reports, Miss Robbie had a life insurance policy out on Andre as well. Now, when Andre returned to St. Louis at the time, Tim allowed Andre to live in his apartment building a couple of doors down. He also allowed Andre to drive his cars. He enrolled Andre into Nelly's School of Music. Everything just seemed to be going well. Andre's mother was trusting him. Andre was even trusting him at that point, but he didn't know the scheme that was going on behind the scenes. And hearing all of these interesting conversations about Tim that happened just the first day of trial just makes me believe that Tim is this big-time mastermind that puts all of these intricate pieces together to make his diabolical plan work, such as having his mother's home robbed, blaming it on Andre, luring Andre to come back, and when Andre comes back, setting up a murder. Now, while Tim's attorneys set up their opening statements, making Tim look like this honorable guy who just wants to see everyone in his family win and wants to be the one that messed up before in life and has his nephew and all of these younger kids look up to him, Miss Michelle Griggs knew that that was completely the opposite. Tim showed her this caring uncle that needed all of this information on her son and wanted to take her son in, but when her son actually passed away, she heard nothing from Tim until the funeral. She said that Tim came up to her at the funeral and said, "I'm sorry for your loss." We all know that Tim is a good cook and an excellent business owner, but acting was never his forte, which is probably why he didn't show up to the family's vigil that they had for Andre.
Knock my wig off. I said, don't knock my wig off. I don't know. I thought he was going to try to make it, but he didn't come. I don't know. It's always something. Missing it. He might be going through something. He always going through something. And I'm always going through something. So,
Now, according to the prosecution, Tim does not deny taking out the life insurance policy out on Andre. However, he feels he had good reason to. Andre was a part of some type of music group that he felt carried guns and was pretty dangerous, and he wanted to make sure in the event that something happened to Andre, he would be able to take care of things. According to Tim's defense team, Tim was very rich and had no reason to plan a murder for hire plot. He was opening up restaurants left and right, and that wasn't the type of things that broke people did pretty much. But contrary to their statement, there was a text message from Charles, Tim's cousin, to Tim asking Tim to give him $1,300 to get his car out of impound because he had mounted up some traffic tickets. Tim texts back pretty much telling him, "Hey, I don't have it. I'm about to get evicted. I got this due, that due, this restaurant, that restaurant." And sure enough, Tim did get evicted. So does that sound like a man who's hurting for money, or does that sound like a man who's rich? Now, going back to Miss Michelle Griggs' testimony, while on the stand, Miss Michelle Griggs was asked to point out Mr. Norman, which she was able to do. She explained that that was her son's uncle, also his deceased father's brother. They asked her to identify her son on a picture, which she was able to identify Andre, and then they showed her a picture of Andre in the morgue, which caused her to, of course, burst out crying. She was cross-examined by Tim's attorneys, who pretty much tried to paint Andre out to be this wayward kid, and according to Tim's attorney, Mr. Michael Leonard, he says, and I quote, "Tim always felt a special bond with Andre, and he felt a special responsibility. But all in all, no matter how they try to paint him, Andre did not deserve to die, and definitely not at the direction of his uncle." Now, on the actual day of the murder, the prosecution painted Terica as an exotic dancer, and they also said she was a lady of the night. That was Tim's girl that he would have to please him, and he would have to pay her to please him. And according to them, Tim was tricking off on her pretty nicely, although Sis' bank account was in the negative prior to this whole transaction that she made with Tim. Now, we all know that the day of the murder, Tim and Terica met at the Chase Park Plaza Hotel, where they had sex, and the defense is basically saying that she was paid for sexual favors and not to lure Andre out of the home so Travell could murder him. Now, I'm no specialist in this, but I can say this. We've all seen Terica, and looking at her, we know that girl ain't worth no $10,000 for just that 1 hour that she spent with Tim. And if Terica was charging $10,000 for 1 hour, I can guarantee you that her bank account would not be sitting in the negative the way it was. Anyways, while she was with Tim, Tim was telling her what to text to Andre. Y'all recall when we were going over the text messages, Tim and Terica got up that morning shortly after 11 o'clock a.m. and then at 12 12:13, that's when she was texting Andre talking about, "What's up? I'm trying to see you. I don't need money." Remember, previously she told Andre that she needed $300 because she had a slow night at work dancing. Tim was probably like, "Nah, don't ask him for money because he ain't got it." And honestly, if Andre had stolen that $200,000 from his grandmother, $300 to buy some cutty from a chick that he thought was cute wouldn't be nothing. Again, Tim knew Andre didn't have money because Tim knew Andre didn't steal it. Now get this, Terica is saying that she did not know that Tim wanted Andre murdered. She only knew that Tim wanted to talk to Andre or confront Andre about if he took the money from his grandmother. He wanted to have some type of contact with Andre, basically to get back what he had stolen. Terica said she knew nothing else about it. Now, according to Tim's attorney, Mr. Michael Leonard, he said that it was no secret Norman was looking for his nephew. To kill him? No. To get back the loot he stole from his mother. Now, according to the prosecution, Tim is said to have a 5-step plan. This plan is something only Tim would be privy to. Now, there were 6 players in this plan, but none of the players knew the parts that each other would play. They only knew the parts that they would play. I told y'all Tim is a master manipulator and he thinks he's a lot smarter than what he is. So Tim is now trying to play like, "Oh, I don't know what's going on. This was Trevel's plan all along." Tim had been planning this for a long time because if everybody knew the whole plot and everybody got caught separately and everybody came and told the same story and pointed the finger at Tim would have been toast. I told y'all Tim was a master manipulator, but this is how it went down. Part 1 of Tim's plan was to get the insurance policy. That's what he did in 2014. Part 2, he needed to locate Andre. That's why he had Terica there to do that part. Part 3 was to send Trevel to where Andre was. Terica relayed the location, Tim gave it to Trevel, and Trevel was able to pop up. Part 4 was to pay everyone. He gave Terica the $10,000 himself, and Trevel got $5,000, which he left at the Chase Park Plaza. DJ Beats went and picked it up and gave it to Trevel. Part 5 was Tim getting the insurance money, which his dumbass never did. Tim was never able to provide the toxicology report to the insurance company, nor was he able to provide the death certificate. And honestly, the insurance company probably started looking at all the other policies that Tim attempted to take out on Andre. While Tim was supposed to be mourning and going through about the death of his only nephew, Tim was too busy calling the insurance company trying to get money before Andre even got cold. Now, going back to the actual day of the murder, Terica said that she was going to go to the mall, pick up Andre a t-shirt. She asked him what size shirt he wore. He told her large. She went to 3964 Natural Bridge, which was where he was there recording. And of course, Trevel was there waiting outside on standby. Now, Tim was communicating with Terica from a burner phone. Y'all all remember we were going through the cell phone tower information. And I told y'all someone texted Terica right before Andre was shot, but I didn't know who it was. Now, according to prosecution yesterday, they said that call was Tim, and Tim texted her and said, "Move." Of course, there again, they're on Natural Bridge. We've all watched the show. They've talked about all of the deaths and murders that have happened just within their family on Natural Bridge. So just imagine Terica being outside waiting in her car. She doesn't know, according to prosecution, that Andre is going to get shot. So if somebody starts shooting Andre and she's outside and her car is in front of Andre, of course she can get shot as well. So before that shot actually rang out, Tim told her to move. She drove off, and as soon as she drove off, that's when Andre was shot. I have questions, and it's the investigator in me. My thing is this. Tim had a 314 number that he had been communicating with Terica on. All of these communications right here have been with Tim. I've studied this case for hours. My thing is this. What phone did Tim text her from? He was calling her from this phone. He texted her from this phone. This phone is not in any of the information on the cell phone tower report. The cell phone tower report has 3 phone numbers for Tim, and this phone number is not there. I don't know, but I feel like Tim had some type of eyes somewhere in order to text Terica and let her know that she needed to move. Whose phone he used, that's the mystery. That's pretty much all that happened yesterday. Today, Special Agent Faber from the FBI is currently on the stand, and the defense asked him if they have any facts on Norman submitting 5 life insurance applications on his nephew. The answer was no, but he says that money for the premiums was coming out of Norman's bank account. The prosecution then began asking questions of Special Agent Faber. Who is the beneficiary on every application submitted, and who is the policy owner? Both answers are Tim Norman, and here are the evidence which we've all seen before. Tim and insurance agent Wally Wael Yagnam speaking back and forth about who will be the beneficiary and the policyholder, and Tim was indeed both. Tim's goose seems to be getting cooked on well done temperature when it comes to the prosecution. I will, however, say that Tim's attorneys are definitely some slicksters, and they don't seem to be going down without a fight. What I need to do is hear from you. What do you think about everything that's going on in the world of Tim Norman? What do y'all think about him losing weight? Child, this is just too much. Leave a comment, and you know how we do. We'll talk about it down below. Talk to you guys later. Bye. As always, thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and hit that bell so you don't miss any of my new episodes.